Welcome back to Bodanza Disc Golf. We are going GoPro for today's video because we're right now in the middle of a tournament. We are waiting on a card to finish up so that we can wait our hour and do round two. The day that you're watching this is the day that my tournament will be. And a lot of you guys have been asking for an updated in the bag. This might be a little unhinged because my bag is a little crazy right now and it's constantly evolving, but let's go ahead and make it happen. All right, first off, we're just gonna start where everyone needs to start, which is in the putter pocket. And for my putters right now, I'm actually putting with my own putters. I like to change these out every time that I win a tournament, so these just came in my bag. Hopefully they go out of my bag today as well. I might still keep them in, I just gotta ink them up, but there are also some other cool pures in there. And I have two more pures actually as well. I have Eco Pure, which is my big turnover disc. This one I use kind of sometimes in the woods, but it tends to just be for utility turnover shots. But I also have another disc that I'm trying to cycle into that spot, so I'm not sure what's gonna stay in the bag. This is my Opto Pure here. I've used this guy for a while and really liked it, but it's kind of getting replaced with the Trash Pan Inner Core. I've had this in my bag now for a little bit. I really like throwing it. And so I'm kind of testing these between each other. The Inner Core doesn't quite go as far for me as the Opto Pure does, but both of them are pretty solid molds. The last two that I have up here are the Razor Claw 3, which is my Justice slot. It's a little bit slower, but it does the same thing for me. It is very, very, very overstable. And then I have a zone right now. This is one of the first discs I ever got, which is an ESP zone that I got in Tucson, Arizona, doing my first disc golf event ever. And this disc is pretty straight. It'll actually flip up for me as a zone, which is kind of nice. So these are mostly my putters. Let's get onto mids, fairways, and drivers, and then what else I have in the bag for the tournaments. My gosh, it is freezing here. This next round is gonna be so cold. Okay, I have a lot of extra discs in my bag right now because doing review videos, it makes you want to throw a lot more stuff, and it makes you realize that there are some slots that you have that you might not have, but some notable stuff that's not in here are first, another zone. I used to have a couple zones in my bag. Now I just have the one zone because the Razor Claw 3 does what I wanted the zones to do, and it feels more comfortable in my hand, forehand and backhand. And a Justice. I took that out because I realized the Razor Claw 3 does what I wanted. And then this disc just went in my bag after I did a review on it, which is going to be coming out later next week, which is the Pyro. I actually only threw it on one hole today because it essentially is what I want my Justice to be, just longer. I don't want it to be quite as overstable as the Justice is because I feel like I can push my Razor Claw 3 to where I wanted my Justice to go. And so the Pyro for me from MVP or Axiom, whoever the heck it is, this disc is kind of what I wanted my Justice to be. And so I've really been liking this, even though I've only thrown it once in a tournament. Moving down in stability, I have two EMAC Truth. One of them is my own stamp, which is a Lucid Ice one. And this one is more overstable than kind of like, this is where most people's buzz slots is. This is a Lucid EMAC Truth that I got at a tournament in Denver, Colorado, Summer Safari, and I think it was in June of this year. And this one will flip up the flat for me. It's just very workable. It does what I want. And then moving down to stability again, we have a Fuse, which I use for like turnovers that have a lot of late turn. And then I also just put this in the bag just in case. And I actually threw it once today, not very well, but it's the Paradox from Axiom. 5-4, -40, super, super flippy. It kind of is what my Eco Pure is. So they're in very similar slots. So I'm not exactly sure which one's going to stay in the bag, but I have them both for now because this is faster than the Pure. It's a 5-speed rather than a 3-speed, so they do slightly different things. This one is slightly longer, and I feel like I can power on it a little bit more without having it totally turn over. I don't know, and it just feels really solid in the hand. So let's get on to the fairways, which is always my least good spot. I was trying to think of a better word. I couldn't think of a better word. My fairway slot really comes down right now to like 3 discs and then 3 that I'm trying to test out right now because there's a slot that's totally missing. That's a very important slot that I noticed today that I need. But first I have this pretty beat-in Thunderbird right here. This Thunderbird has been with me for a long time. I got it when I won my first tournament back in April or May in Las Vegas. So this thing has been with me for a while. It flips up the flat. It's kind of much more of a control driver, but it is still stable because it is a Thunderbird, but it's not nearly as stable as this Misprint Felon that I have for my recent round of discs. Also, if you want to snag any of my discs, I still have some available at bodanzadiscgolf.com. Link down in the first link down below. I'm trying to sell out of those, obviously, because I'm hoping to do some more when we hit 10,000 subscribers. So if you don't want to buy one of these, subscribing still helps my channel a ton. But those 2 discs cover most of my overstable slot, and then you're going to see a massive gap in speed as well, because those are both 9 speeds. Here's a 7-speed River, which is my hyzer flip to turnover disc. So this is pretty flippy, not like the most flippy disc in the world. They're definitely flippier fairway drivers, but this is I'm going to hit some gaps with this guy. So I really like this disc. But then there's 3 other discs that I'm trying out. One is an Eric Oakley Dynasty, which I think is 9.5 -1.2. I haven't really thrown it much because I was just given it. Collab coming soon, but I like the way that this flies, and I'm not sure if it's kind of what my Thunderbird is now, but just a more replaceable version, because just out of the box, it's 9.5 -1.2, whereas that's kind of where my Thunderbird is right now as well. And then the other two I was given by Zach, who owns Prismatic Gear, solid dude. You can check out their stuff if you want, but they're two Vodums from Thought Space Athletics. This is in their Ethos plastic, I believe, and they're pretty interesting discs because they're relatively stable. I think their numbers are 7503. This plastic, maybe the ethereal plastic, not 100% sure, but it's slightly less stable, I think, than the Ethos plastic. But I really like the way that these fly. I just literally put them in my bag 2 days ago, so I haven't trusted them. I don't think I'll throw these today, but they're in my bag as that kind of Explorer, T-Bird, Athena type slot, even though I did just get a first run Athena to test out. But those are the main discs that I have in my bag right now, which brings us to the big boys. One thing that you'll notice even in here is that I have a lot of Trilogy. Now, honestly, that's just kind of where I started playing disc golf. I don't think that many manufacturers have like a massive edge on other manufacturers. They're all pretty similar. They all make very similar molds. Even a lot of the smaller ones, which I have been reviewing and have videos coming up on the channel and just have more discs to review as well, they all make really, really solid molds. So it just comes down to how it feels in your hand and what you get comfortable with. A lot of that can even just come down to height. Like if you really like a player, throw their disc, you'll probably throw it better than a similar disc that you don't have any sort of emotional attachment to. Kind of a weird thing, but it's true. So moving up in speed, I have Graces. So right now I have 3 Graces in my bag. This one was my first Grace that I ever really threw. This one is my flippiest Grace. I can hyzer flip it, I can work it. It's kind of like my Thunderbird where it's not quite what it's supposed to be, but it's in a good spot because of that. My next one is this blue one, which is actually becoming flippier than I want, which is why I actually put this one in the bag just for this tournament specifically, but I didn't throw it yet because this one pretty much did everything that I wanted to do. I just had to realize it was slightly more flippy, so I had some bad shots with it because it's not what I want it to be, but I haven't done enough field work to feel comfortable completely replacing it with a new Grace, which I have the Christmas Tar World Championship Graces. They fly very similar, and I think I'd be able to get away with it, but if I don't have to, I'm gonna go to what's comfortable, which is that blue Grace for me. 2 more Trilogy discs, actually. The next one is going to be a Rive. This is kind of my overstable driver, not like my utility driver, my super beefcake driver, that's what this is, but this is my overstable driver. I'll go ahead and throw it on flex lines and feel comfortable, but I also can push it out very far flat, and it has a dependable fade. So I really like the Rives as well. This is the one distance driver though that I'm probably going to take out of my bag for something else, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what that is. So if you have suggestions or you want to see a battle between a couple different distance drivers, please let me know, because I like that disc, but I'm not super attached to it, especially because they beat in to a point that's a little too flippy from where I want and then stay there instead of staying at a pretty nice overstable slot, which is what I'm pretty sure this one would do, which is a Lucid Sparkle, looks like Enforcer, that I won from Jaden. What's up, Jaden, if you're watching the video. This is kind of a beefcake, just like that tick up more instability of my Rive. I throw it 4 flex shots, threw it once today, terrible shot, just really got over on it, but that's pretty much the main part of my bag. I use the Dynamic Disc Paratrooper, but my bags and basically everything, if you're interested in picking up stuff that's disc golf, if you go through the links in my description, you'll help to support the channel at no additional cost to you. I don't have any like bag sponsors or any sponsors right now, so this is just everything that I throw as someone who's playing on the Pro Tour. Isn't quite there yet, but hopefully with this tournament, if I get another one, I'm getting closer, because my first round was pretty solid. Not great, I didn't play well, but I putt really well. And if you're interested in checking that video out, if it's live, it'll be right over here. However, if you're watching this the day that it comes out, go ahead and check out this video right down here, which is all about getting better at forehand. It's a part of Project 100, which is my off-season training to get onto the Pro Tour. I'm getting much closer to feeling confident enough to be able to do that. But if you're interested more in the tournament side of things, this is my last tournament vlog from another tournament that I just played in Pensacola, Florida, called the Argo. Pretty solid play there. Go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, subscribe, like the video. Join my Patreon. You can tell me what disc to review. I got discs for sale. I'm just plugging. ABP, baby. Always be plugging. Love you. Bye. Peace.